Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hoops Hobby Hangout. We are hanging out here again with everyone here, so you can see everyone on the screen. And what's up, Ryan, Adam, Tim, Steve? We are talking today about our non-basketball card collecting. So, what things we may or may not collect that are not related to basketball cards. And so I'm excited to see what kind of comes out of here, and I'm sure there's going to be some other cards that come out in the woodwork and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of quirky stuff we've got all around the table. And if anyone is at all interested in sharing their collecting habits or what they enjoy to collect, please share in the chat. The QR code is on the screen. We are on YouTube and Instagram if anyone prefers one modality over the other. So just a whole lot of things to go through. Before we get into any of that, I'd like to formally offer my apologies, Adam, on behalf of Jaylen Brown's selection as an all-star starter.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I don't even need to get into it anymore. I feel like my opinion's been said. It hasn't changed. It's not going to waver. So he's done enough damage that nothing can change it. So we are where we are. Hope he does well at the All-Star game. And more than that, I hope he shows everyone who he really is, does the things that piss me off.
You don't hope that he starts to be more consistent so he could lead you guys in the playoffs until Tatum returns?
I mean, he's what, 11 years in the league?
Yeah,
I think the point of growth is probably behind him.
Fair. Well, yeah, otherwise, how's everyone doing? Anyone have any updates they want to share related to basketball cards? I know that's a dangerous question to ask because it could be a long, slippery slope.
I got two quick updates, but I don't know, anybody else have any other updates they want to throw in there? I'm distracting myself by putting the live feed up on my Instagram, but I'm talking, so I'll jump in there. Just two quick updates. I had one great mail day and then a really fun trade. And I don't know about you guys, but even in my mid-40s, my favorite thing to do in the hobby is still, there's just something, the nostalgia of like trading cards with someone, even low-end cards. So first, my pickup. So when we did the Flawless episode or Flawless talk, I mentioned that I have almost, at least one, iteration of the Flawless Patches cards from each year of Flawless, and I did not have a 24-25 one. So the other day I was going through eBay and I saw a listing, and all the listing said was 24-25 Flawless Patch 09 out of 25. It didn't list the team, the player name, nothing. And I instantly recognized it as Derek White from the Boston Celtics, and it happened to be a jersey numbered copy of his Flawless Patch from 24-25. So definitely my favorite player on the team right now, as far as just enjoy watching him play the game basketball. He's been pretty clutch for the Celtics. So I almost smashed the bin, but it was one of those cards where I sent an offer and I said I'd let it sit for 15 minutes, and I got a counter offer back within about 5 minutes. So I feel like I didn't get a steal on it. Like I definitely paid, I think I paid $40 for it or so, which is a good price for a Derek White patch, but definitely it's not like I got a huge steal on it. But I can't imagine listing a card for sale and not listing the player name. Like yeah, which is just really stupid. And then speaking of jersey cards, this is a WNBA card. I'll be quick with this story, Joey. So this is Veronica Burton. It's her WNBA Donruss card. Jersey number 22 out of 25. And my hobby friend Kyle Klex posted this. He pulled it from a retail product. And I haven't been doing a lot of the WNBA Donruss stuff. It's just the players I like are either their Frankenstein cards, a picture on the wrong team. It's Panini kind of fumbled it a little bit. But I mentioned that if he's ever going to move it because it's jersey numbered, I'd be interested. And he mailed it to me and said, you know what? When you find something that fits my collection, just feel free to finish the trade now or anytime in the future. So I call that like a blind trade, and I think they're a ton of fun to do with. I only do them with hobby friends. Like I've probably done a low end one with Adam at some point about he had something I need for a set or something. I think it's a really fun way to kind of dig into someone's collection and find something for them. So we're talking two $10 cards, but I found him something. He got it in the mail yesterday, messaged me. He was super stoked about it. It was a card he's been looking for a while for his PC. So I like that stuff way more than just like going on eBay and buying a card. Like had that card been on eBay, I might not have bought it. But having a friend pull it and then them willing to send it to me and making a trade down the line, it's just that stuff brings back a lot of nostalgia for me. So I was really, really pumped about that interaction. It's just a fun little way to engage with the hobby.
I guess on the note of trading, like obviously I shared the Tyrese Halliburton flawless that I got last week through a trade, and
Right.
I mean I don't do a lot of trading, but it just feels really good, especially when it's a card that would have cost me a lot of money. It's like, man, it's really nice to send away cards I don't want and get cards that are like really important to me.
For sure.
So, yeah, very cool. Cool. I think Ryan, you shook your head. Adam, Tim, you guys got anything?
Yeah, I got a couple new ones that came in. Shared a couple of these in group chats with you all, but this one came in since the last episode. Patrick Ewing used forever like an impossible patch auto, and eventually Panini got him to get some in there. So I'm going to replace an older Upper Deck SP Signature Gold auto with this. And then I've got triple patch. I've been looking for one of these. It's the first one I've seen with all stitch patches. The green does bother me a little bit with the Lakers, but at least the Celtics on there to offset it. And then I haven't shared this one with anybody. It came in the other day and I forgot about it till just now. Al Horford All-Star Game.
I was wondering which Celtics collector I knew was going to eventually snag that one. I mean, the price kept dropping on it. That's a huge chunky card and a chunky patch to go with it. That's really cool.
How do you forget about that card?
Well, it was sitting on my nightstand. I opened it in my bed the other day. And
Adam had some private
getting ready to do this. And so, that's a good card.
Is that a shoe patch or is that a jersey?
I think
patch?
it's shorts, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Like a thickness, like to the material that looks like more than just a jersey, but they could have done them that way for the All-Star Game. I don't know. Not something I normally buy, like super modern players, but I love Al Horford.
Yeah.
And it was, like as Steve said, it started out pretty high. There's actually a recent comp on eBay of 300 for it, and I got it for 150 after it eventually chipped away and down and down and down and down. I'll take it.
Yeah, that's like a super nice patch. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Tim, what do you got?
Not much new lately, but last night I had some fun and put together my top 20 favorite cards from the 24-25 season, Panini's last season with the NBA license. So that was fun putting that together. And, I've said it to a bunch of you guys in DMs and on here, but I am going to miss Photogenic. I know we're getting Stadium Club, and I'm excited about that, but Photogenic, it was a nice run. I think you can give Panini that. It was a nice run. Yeah,
there are definitely some sets and inserts that it's unfortunate won't be made anymore. But I actually read today on Facebook that the Panini, I don't know if this is true, so somebody correct me if it's wrong, that the Panini CEO died and the company's now for sale. Like, I don't know the legitimacy of that statement, but
I don't know. Yeah, that'd be kind of crazy. I think he was older, but yeah, did not hear that.
Yeah, so maybe Photogenic, Prism, those sorts of things will eventually make a comeback if Fanatics purchases Panini. So I don't know. That may be something to look into. I Collect Wade Raphael's in here hanging out. Welcome. Thanks for checking in. Agrees with the love for Photogenic. Yeah. It's Photogenic and Stadium Club. I'm excited for Stadium Club. I don't know what that's going to look like in terms of like price, but it's cool that hopefully maybe we'll be able to get our hands on some. Well, yeah. So today we're going to talk those collections that we have that are not basketball cards. I don't know if anyone in particular wants to start anywhere. I don't know if we had mentioned talking about other types of cards. I don't know if that's somewhere to start or somewhere to leave for later. I'm just gonna, leave that for someone to jump in.
I have some stuff, but I am dying to hear Ryan hopefully talk about his history collection that he has of those old 1910 or whatever they are set he has.
Yeah, I was going to get to it eventually.
You might as well start us off with it.
Well, let's start with something different because it's kind of like my timeline of collecting. So we'll begin where it began, I guess, so to speak, and that's Garbage Pail Kids. So I probably mentioned it on this show before. Definitely mentioned it on like my channel, but I started collecting cards with Garbage Pail Kids in probably the second year they were out. So they debuted in 85. So that would have been 86. It's elementary school. So I, of course, had to put together like a first series set. So this is the original series. This binder is original series 1 through 7, I think. So, this is your first series cards. Put this together, probably completed it like 7 or 8 years ago. But this is one of those things where every single kid had it. You're in elementary school, at least, my time, trading them on the playground, bringing them into school and getting in trouble because you had them on your desk and you're getting distracted and stuff like that. That's kind of the start of my collecting journey.
And real quick, so was that like, you said it, every kid was there. And what's up, Evan? Thanks for hanging out.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Did you mention that, or you mentioned that everyone was trading that? Was that like alongside sports cards too, or was that
this is pre-sports cards? Yeah,
Pre-sports
so it's
cards,
like,
okay.
if you think about the junk wax era, beginning in like the mid 80s, I definitely got into baseball cards before basketball cards, but that was like the start of like collecting cards. And my mom was kind of like a collectibles type person as well, which I'll kind of get into something else that I collected with her. Yeah, so that was kind of the first thing when I got back into the hobby again. I like got all my cards out, got all these giant pens and stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, Garbage Pail Kids cards. So alongside like kind of getting back into actually baseball first, when I first got back in like the early 2010s, I also put some basketball stuff together, but a lot of Garbage Pail Kids. So I was buying stuff like this. This is, the classic, probably one that most people think about. Yeah, when they think about Garbage Pail Kids, they probably think about this card because it was on like a lot of the boxes and stuff like that. And for anybody that's interested, I do have like a really probably boring long video on my channel that goes over all this stuff. But what's cool is like Topps re-released. I think they're up to our original Series 7 now, but they did them in Chrome. So this is like the Chrome version of the Atom Bomb. Pretty cool card. And so I've just gone after all that stuff. Like literally it's been a continuation of these cards for years. So I think this one's from 2014. This is like a signature of one of the original artists. Like he did most of the original series. John Pound is his name. And then this is probably one of my favorite ones. This is actually a sketch card. So that's all a drawing. And that's from a guy named Tom Bunk. And Tom Bunk did a lot of the card fronts, but not until later series. He was more doing the backs of the cards. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with this, but the backs of the cards had like a little cartoon type layout, like a cartoon panel. A lot of them did. And then some of them had like a little like award for being the most disgusting or skipping school or something like that. Like they came up with all the silly stuff. So I know I kind of rambled on. So we can leave it at that, or I can transition into something else if you want. You guys let me know.
Before transitioning, what exactly was Garbage Pail Kids a cartoon?
No, it was just cards. So it was kind of like on the front end of the 90s boom, late 80s to 90s boom, card boom. So junk wax era, as you can think of it. When everything had cards. So it was like almost prior to that, there's this card series called Wacky Packages. And so this is a Topps product that came out in like, I want to say like the 60s, maybe. I think that's when they debuted it. But it was to get kids to buy gum. I mean, that's really what it was. Buy gum and you get some cards with it. That's how they sold it, or candy or something like that. And I think Garbage Pail Kids came along because some of the artists that were doing Wacky Packages went in and said, let's do a separate set. It's like a Cabbage Patch Kids. You guys remember Cabbage Patch Kids? It's going to be a spinoff of Cabbage Patch Kids, and it's going to look like them, but it's going to be gross, So that was like the whole point of it, is to get like kids my age, literally at the time, like elementary school kids and middle school kids, to buy candy. And then, they get the cards, they get the gum, and whatever. So
I'm sure that would appeal to like preteen boys. Garbage. Gross.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was actually kind of cool because I was like 6 or 7 years old, and some of them are kind of more adult themed. And my mom got convinced by some other kid's mom that, oh no, these are fun, these are cool. And then, a lot of them are kind of gory and stuff like that too. It probably wouldn't fly with parents nowadays, but
I was just going to say that, Ryan, that I remember being like 6 to 8 years old, and they were the first thing that like parents in the neighborhood started to like edit as if they were worried their kids seeing it. And then all of a sudden you're 13 or 14 and it turns into they're deciding whether or not you can buy CDs with parental advisories on. I'm like, but it was like the first experience of a kid is like parents are, oh, I don't know if this is appropriate for my child. And
yeah. They were
It's
like
just-
banned in schools. I think
Yeah.
even my school banned them at a certain point because they were just distracting because kids
So
would have them out.
distracting. Yeah. So
Yeah.
distracting.
They're awesome though.
Great
and then
stuff.
that really transitioned into being a collector of cards and things. You want me to keep going a little bit? Because I got something that segues off that.
Oh man.
Run with it.
Okay. So alongside that, I started getting into Mad Magazine. I don't know if you guys ever read Mad Magazine, but this is like the Garbage Pail Kid issue. That's actually something that I collected with my mom because she was really into antique shops. And me being a kid, I didn't give a crap about antiques and, armoires and cabinets and all that crap. So I'd go to the back of the antique shop and look through all their Mad magazines, and you could pick up this might have even been one that I picked up back then. I can't remember, but they'd have ones from like the 60s and the 70s and ones without covers that kids had trashed or something that you get for 25 cents, So I collected a lot of those. I got a couple boxes. This one right here, for those of you who know that Mad Magazine, Alfred E. Newman, he was kind of like, I don't know, the mascot, I guess you'd say. So that's his first appearance. This issue, I think, is from 56, I want to say, back when you could pick it up for 25 cents. So that's...
Do you have the
kind of-
first Spy vs. Spy comic? That's all I do with the Mad Magazine.
Yeah.
was like this
Yeah, Spy vs. Spy was a big thing in Mad Magazine. No, I don't think I have the actual... Well, they're in a lot of the issues, but did they have a spinoff of that as an actual magazine or...
No, they just had the comics within the magazine itself.
Oh,
And then they
yeah,
had,
the comics. Yeah.
And then once they get hit peaked, I think they even had their own cartoon series for like a year or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was just a 2 or 3 page comic, if I remember correctly, in the magazine itself, and I'd always just go straight to that and read it before I did anything else
Yeah.
with the rest of the magazine. I love Spy vs. Spy.
That was classic. Yeah. So those actually started as a comic. So in the early 50s, Mad Magazine wasn't a magazine, it was a comic. So like the first, I want to say maybe 20 issues, it might be something like 15 or 20, is comics. And they're, I don't know, they labeled the different eras as it's golden age or something like that. But yeah, they started as comics, which I don't have any of those. Eventually we'll pick them up, but they get a little pricey. But mine was more like the magazine format with the articles, and they made fun of like all the pop culture stuff. It was like similar vein to Garbage Pail Kids cards, but actually something you could read. And, had a lot of risque, like for the time, like topics and stuff for young kids to be like, oh, I'm talking about some sitcom that I probably my parents wouldn't let me watch or whatever. So that's my two. I'll let you guys go because I know I've been talking for a while, but we will eventually get to the vintage non-sports.
And then it was all
card.
downhill when they came up with Mad TV and tried to compete with the mid 90s comedy show and everything else. I mean, that was a disaster. I think that killed the brand, to be honest. I mean, I don't know enough about it. I just feel like Mad TV killed the brand.
Yeah, it kind of died. I want to say it died out, definitely in the digital age now. You can still actually I have a subscription to it. My wife got it for me like 2 years ago. And a lot of the content is just recycled stuff from years ago. I'm like, I remember this one. And then I found one of my old issues. I'm like, yeah, it's just they put it back in. They probably have like 1 or 2 little segments in there that are actually new.
For sure.
But yeah.
What did you go find, Adam?
I didn't expect Spy versus Spy to come up in conversation, but it reminded me I had this little Spy versus Spy statue on my shelf over there. This is like a Batman collab with Spy versus Spy. But I used to.
Is there a story behind that? That's really cool, Adam, and more detailed than I would have thought for Spy versus Spy. Is there a story behind that, or did you just see it somewhere and it looked cool, so you grabbed it?
Basically that. I remember as a kid thinking it was cool. I remember there being like a Game Boy, probably color video game for Spy versus Spy. I used to play a lot, so when I saw it, I grabbed it. But yeah, the last thing I thought to come up in conversation was a random Spy versus Spy. Like, that's hilarious. So here, I wouldn't grab it.
I'll just show one of the pages real quick it might jog some people's memory of the Spy versus Spy stuff.
Yeah, the Black Spy versus the White Spy. Yep, classic.
Yep.
Loved it.
Yep.
This is all new to me, so thanks for showing.
Yeah, it's all new to me too.
Well, it's only going to be if you're like old dudes like Steven.
You guys are so no, Ryan. It's not that we're old. We're cultured. Okay, we've just lived great lives.
I'm pretty sure Adam's younger than me, so he's
I'm a lot
He's
younger than
cultured.
you. Thank you.
He's
a lot
cultured, yeah.
younger than you.
So, Adam, would you say then you're a spy versus spy collector?
No. No. We kind of joked about that over messages earlier. My opinion of collecting was a little different than Joey's in the sense of having things doesn't make me a collector of something. So, like the example I used with him, if I have a lot of shoes, it doesn't make me a shoe collector. I just happen to have a lot of them. So that's kind of the running joke behind that comment.
So we're all just hoarders.
I mean, in a way, sure. And I think the collecting gene aids into being a hoarder and other things because you're never satisfied with what you have and you always want more.
I guess my question to you then, because you said you have a lot of shoes, at what point would you consider yourself a shoe collector? What would be the condition that you'd have to meet in order to consider yourself one?
So I have a lot of friends who are shoe collectors. And I think shoe collectors too, generally speaking, are like sneakers. Anymore, I wear sneakers maybe one day a week and dress shoes the other days of the week. So I have way more dress shoes anymore. And I don't know that people are really dress shoe collectors.
Oh, that's sad.
But like I know tons of guys that are like we are with cards. Like, oh, there's this new drop coming out. I got to go get these. I'm going to go wait in line at 8 a.m. to go get them. Like that's a collector.
Yeah.
You're not going to catch me sitting outside at 8 a.m. for anything. So I don't care what it is. So like that's not for me. I did grab a couple of shoes just for the sake of conversation. But
yeah, show them off, man.
All right. So like these ones are actually kind of cool, and they have a card kind of collaboration with them. These came out. I want to say it was 2015. It was an anniversary of the 1990 World Series, the Nasty Boys for the Reds, and then the A's had a high version of these. These are SBs. The back of them says Nasty Boys on them. But they came out and like remade 1990 Topps boxes, and Topps didn't give them the licensing to allow them to do that. So they got like pulled off the shelves. So they're kind of tough to find. But being a Reds fan and shoe fan, not collector, just fan, I had to grab those. But anymore, like I was saying with dress shoes, like the stuff I wear generally is stuff like this. This is what I would wear every day. But I have probably, I don't know, 40 pairs of dress shoes, but I wouldn't consider myself a dress shoe collector.
But do you have 40 pairs just because you need them for work or whatever, or because you just enjoy the shoes?
I don't think anybody needs 40 pairs.
One pair at a time, Joe. He said, no, he doesn't need 40 pairs.
Right, yeah. That's not a need.
Whatever, dude. Like, you know, people change it. I don't know what people do for their style. My wife has like 40 pairs of shoes, and it's not because she likes to collect them.
That's my point. There you go. She's not a collector. Thank you for proving it. But like, so for me, like, these are wingtips. They have ones that are just like cap toes, and they have brown, black. These are like mahogany or something, depending what the brand they are. They'll have different names. But I basically started wearing dress shoes 18, 19 years old, and you go through them like nothing. And so I started buying nice dress shoes. The brand I normally buy is Allen Edmonds, if anybody's familiar with them. But they're expensive, but they last basically forever. You can resole them, that kind of thing. So I started cultivating all kinds of them because I knew I could just wear them forever. They wear out the bottoms. I could just put new bottoms on them and keep wearing them forever. So it's kind of like a future-proofing myself. Things only get more expensive. Those have as well. So I just bought all of the ones I thought I would want ever, and I have them now, so I don't have to worry about buying them in the future.
An old soul you are, my friend.
I guess so.
Future-proofing your dress shoes. I mean, and honestly, it makes sense. And I'm sitting there laughing. You can tell you don't live in the Northeast because you'd have to have an equal number of boots to wear in order to not ruin those dress shoes.
I have lots of dress boots too. That's part of like the 40 so pairs. There's not all.
Well, especially, and I'm not like, especially in a car dealership when you had different roles. I'm sure you had to have, you know, the footwear that could handle being out walking a lot with customers. Those nice leather shoes aren't going to be out doing that for 12-hour shifts.
You call those?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you call those boots the tall boys or what?
No, they're not. They're not like 69 Tops.
Okay.
No, just boots. But yeah, to Steve's point, like a lot of dress shoes that are nicer leather bottoms, and if you're working outside, not that I'm slaving away at the job, but on concrete, leather soles get burned through. So I didn't used to wear those when I was still out in the pavement, but now that I just sit in my desk, I wear whatever, whether it's leather bottoms or rubber or whatever. But yeah, there's just so many different versions, just like with cards, that you can buy the same color 4, 5, 6 different ways, and they're all different shoes. So I've done that and then some, and like I said, I'm good now. Probably I haven't bought any in probably 5 or 6 years because I have everything I want.
So you didn't expect any spy versus spy conversations. I didn't expect the leather bottom shoes to come up in this conversation. So you never know where this stuff's going to go.
Yeah, that's kind of the funny part of it. I have no idea what any of you are going to pull out. So the conversation can go anywhere.
Yeah. Did you see, Adam, that KC mentioned in the chat? He has both pairs of those sealed 1990 tribute shoes.
There you go. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I only have the Reds one. I actually don't have them with the original box. I bought them after. I didn't get them on the initial drop. They were dropped at a local store called Unheard Of. It's like a sneaker boutique type place. I didn't get them on the initial drop because I'm not going to wait outside at 8 a.m. or whatever to get them. So I got them afterwards when they were being basically taken off the shelves. They would sell them without the box to get away from the legalities of it. So I don't have the cool box. I just have the shoes.
I wonder, Evan or Tim, if what your guys' thoughts are. I mean, it seems like Adam has a pretty high bar in terms of considering himself as a collector of something. Adam, do you consider yourself a card collector?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
Like I said to you in the messages earlier, like if I'm not looking for it or searching for it, I'm not really collecting it.
Sure.
I look and search for 4 million searches a day, multiple times a day. So like that's definitely in the quantifiable.
Yeah. And I'm not totally sure where I land. So I wondered, Evan or Tim, like where you guys are in that conversation of like what makes you a collector of something.
Yeah, I think that, there's maybe 3 or 4 things that I could say I truly collect. And then I'll come across, a couple video games I want. And I'll have to pick those up, or a couple of hats or a couple of shoes, but I wouldn't call myself a collector of video games, or, you know what I mean? Like for instance, a lot of people like statues, and I only have 1 statue, and I could totally become a crazy person and get 20 statues like all these people or more. But the 1 statue I had to get, I don't know if any of you, if you have heard of Banjo-Kazooie from back in the day.
1964.
It rings a bell.
Very fun game. It was kind of a competitor to Super Mario 64, and to me, I think it's superior. But the 1 statue I have is, I don't have it here. It's in a box. It's not allowed to be displayed.
Like a true
right
collector.
Now but I do have a Mumbo Jumbo statue. That's like the size of like a garbage can. It's pretty big.
Oh man.
So I saw that and I'm like, that's the 1 statue I'm gonna get, and I'm not gonna get any more. But there's definitely a couple things I have a couple of, but I wouldn't consider them a collection. But I guess I'll dive in.
Yeah, man.
So my mom was definitely the person who gave me my collecting gene. She collected different things, but she was a huge collector of dolls growing up. And we had Cabbage Patch Kids, like over 100 of them in the attic. So like my dad, I don't think he's ever bought a single thing for himself, but my mom definitely passed that on to me in my own way. And my brothers have also kind of have that gene, so to speak. But it started out, collecting Dr. Seuss books, Goosebumps, TV Guide, Sports Illustrated. I don't have any of those to show right now, but the first after baseball cards, which I think is kind of a boring one to bring up a show like this, was Pokemon cards. And I don't collect modern, but I decided to go back a couple of years ago and start slowly collecting the original sets. I don't know if anyone played or collected Pokemon back then. Maybe Adam or Joey or Evan.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay. Well, I found a humongous binder, the biggest binder I've ever seen on the internet a couple of years ago. And I said, all right, that's it. That's what I'm going to recollect all of those cards in. So I'm kind of early in the, collecting of this, but I'm definitely going for it slowly. I think I want this to be going on for many years. Well, there's no race, but I think this binder really makes it look nice. So there's many holes to start, but it's a 36 pocket binder.
Wow.
So I don't know how well you see.
Those
But
look very old school too. Those for that first page.
yeah, those are tops, not chrome.
Okay.
Those end up being pretty pricey. I would love
yeah.
to do that, but that would take me twice as long. So I'm going through the regular tops, like Topps base, I guess you can call it. But here is, I'm starting from the commons and rares first, so not many shinies yet, but just seeing the page come together little by little, really fun for me. Very nostalgic. This is the original base set.
The binder is ridiculous, and I love it.
Which one?
It's
It's
awesome.
literally like a poster. So to us, Tim, on your camera, it looks like you're like a poster, like you're giving a presentation at work.
Yeah.
Or it's
Yeah,
a regular size binder, and he's a dwarf, one or the other.
I'm back in kindergarten with one of those giant books. But almost done with fossil commons, and slowly I'll get into the shinier ones over the next couple of years and decades. But it's a fun little project. Every now and again, it's fun to go into a store and pick out a couple of the cards that would kind of slide in perfectly to the collection. I won't get too deep into this, but I don't really do modern Pokemon at all. I just do the original couple of sets, like the base set, Fossil, Jungle, Gym Leader, Team Rocket, and then also the Neo sets, which is maybe my favorite set. That's the first set with the second generation.
Oh, sure. Johto.
Dodo, that's right. I think these look great because you obsessed over the first 151, but as soon as you were told, wait, there's more,
Yeah.
that was a big moment for me. And so that's my Pokemon, and I think this is a really fun binder to kind of go on that journey. And so not too far down the road in this yet, but the journey is part of the fun. So that's first, and then I got one other thing to show before I pass it on to the rest of you guys. Oh, where'd Steve go?
I think he just hates Pokemon. He must.
Yeah, he's out. He's like,
He's
nah,
probably not.
I'm not.
Probably not. No. So in 2002 or so, as I was in the middle of being into Pokemon, really big into baseball, another show came on that kind of made me, in a sense, close the book on collecting Pokemon cards, and those were Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Oh man, yes.
Me, this is my favorite. This is my favorite thing to collect, almost or probably more than basketball. And I love basketball so much. But anyone have any experience with Yu-Gi-Oh at all?
I had the same transition from Pokemon to Yu-Gi-Oh, and I was super into it. I used to go to like Toys R Us and do tournaments and stuff like that back in the day.
Hell yeah! It was so fun.
My
really
brother and I would always play. Yeah.
I used to watch the show. I wouldn't actually collect the cards, but I liked the TV show.
Oh, this TV show was great. I mean, kidnapping your grandpa, and then everyone goes to the Shadow Realm, and it was just awesome. And
so good.
The first season was fantastic. But what I do is I don't just collect them and put them in binders like collect sets. I don't do that. I do try to get the higher end versions of each card and put them into decks. So I create the character decks that were used in the show. So it's not my opinion. It's not like maybe I should put this in. It's exactly what they use in the show. And so I can have a friend over and they can say, "Oh, I want to duel with Joey or
cool.
Maximilian Pegasus's tunes."
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's like a fun board game in a sense you can always pick up, and it's pretty dead at this point. Most people who enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh hate modern Yu-Gi-Oh. Anyway, it's a very different game that you're there for the nostalgia. You're not there for summoning 4 monsters on the first turn, and it's just not Yu-Gi-Oh to me and to many other people. But to be able to pick up anyone from the show's deck, and when I say anyone, I mean 30 characters. Not just the main characters from the first season. I do all the characters in the original show, which includes Battle City, and also Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, which is I thought a very fun show, almost like a Hogwarts college kind of feel.
Yeah.
So I'm big on that, and like I said, just like I've joked with Ryan, people are like, "Oh, why don't you PSA cards?" or that's a nice card to put in a binder. This is for me. I'm not trying to, I want to keep my things in good condition, but especially with Yu-Gi-Oh, I want to use the card. I don't want to use a reprint. I want to use the original card if I can get my hands on it. Stuff like the classic original 3 Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Yeah. And I was going to ask, for those decks that you're building, are you getting the cards from their starter decks? Because I know they had like Kaiba and Yugi starter decks. Or are you getting them from the set releases?
A mix. Okay. I happen to like the starter deck version of Blue Eyes much better than the original version in Legend of Blue Eyes, which was the first
Yeah.
set. I think this art is
Mhm.
much cooler. This is what you saw in the show. This is the Charizard of Yu-Gi-Oh, basically.
Yeah.
This was really cool to me as well. You know, God cards that were used later on in the show. You guys might remember. Real quick, just a little bit of Yugi. His
So,
main
Tim.
card. Yeah,
People still play it.
people still play it, but it's modern, and
Yeah.
basically any of the cards I'm showing you in these 30 decks are basically obsolete to the modern game.
Okay.
Like there's no point in me bringing these to a tournament and trying to play because they'll beat me in 2 turns automatically. So a lot of people choose to play in a format which is like pre-2010, so that things remain competitive and nostalgic. But
I always kind of wondered, like, with the grading craze, do people play Pokemon nowadays and like throw down a graded card? Because they don't have the actual raw copy. I mean, I just throw that out there. That would be funny.
I think I'm in a minority with putting maybe more expensive cards in my deck. I like to use them, and to see an original card on the field is really fun to me. But I would say with Pokemon, there are definitely a lot of people who still play TCG way more than Yu-Gi-Oh! And probably every other TCG right now. But I think there's probably more people who don't play TCG Pokemon and just collect.
Yeah.
At this point,
Sort of seems like it.
Yeah. But just
All right, keep going.
another
Yeah,
30
sorry.
seconds here. No, it's all good. And I'll pass it on to the next guy. Some of Yugi's famous cards. Dark Magician.
Yeah. I like that Dark Magician.
And I try to color match everything.
Oh,
I'm a big
nice.
color match guy. If you've seen on my basketball card page, so purple for Yugi and his magicians, green for the Blue Eyes and Kaiba. But some other cool ones: Dark Paladin, original from Magician's Force.
Oh,
This is a great one. The Black Magician of Black Chaos. This is what he used to defeat Pegasus at the end of the first season. Probably the coolest summon in the whole show. This is the original premium pack version. And while I'm big on the original stuff and I don't really love the reprints, they did do a beautiful reprint, not a reprint, a printing for the first time of a different art for Dark Magician, which I thought was awesome.
oh, that is cool.
Look at that. I mean, compared to the Dark Magician, which is classic, the original
Yeah.
one, it's a classic. There's a little bit of a, I don't want to say feminine look, but it's kind of, he's in a weird position. So seeing this one, which is in the show, if you remember the dark magic attack that he would use on, the opposing team, the opposing duelists, this one was really cool. This goes for $150, one of the more expensive ones. They made very limited amount of these actually. But huge into Yu-Gi-Oh! That's a big thing, and I still play with my.
Think you got there. You got muted for a second.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm ending now, but I just wanted to say I still play pretty often with friends, a couple times a year. So in a way, while Yu-Gi-Oh! Is very dead, I kind of take a pride in collecting these decks and assembling them to somewhat keep it alive, and every now and again pass it down and teach someone the game. And they don't need to collect anything because they can come over to my house because I have everything.
Yeah.
So there's
That's
a little bit of
quick shout out for the hobby boards. When we were putting it together, I created a Pokemon and a Yu-Gi-Oh separate for them because someone told me, yeah, people collect these. They're bunched into one. So you tell me you need to come over there and start posting your stuff.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think I when I was on it for a little bit, I may have posted once or twice, but I got to get back on there. You're right, Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that section is pretty dead. I feel like there's other forums that cover the trading card games, but hey,
Right.
you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to you, Tim, about the Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon thing because I did collect them when I was younger. I would love to continue collecting them, but like you said, just in the modern way of their modern structure, I just don't know that there's even a place to begin. But yeah, we'll have to talk about that later. What's up, Darren? Thanks for hanging out. Is your first time coming on camera?
First time here, yep.
Yeah.
I'm
And
not
I
a
know
good
you've
guy.
got-
I got kind of geeked out when y'all first started talking about the topic. I took it in a different direction. Like y'all are talking about cards still. But no, like I was a librarian for about 10 years. I've got a lot of signed books and books in general. But I just want to say first off, Forkbeard, you're not the only one that has dolls. So I got unfortunately a couple of them. But no, what I was going to show off, and I'm sorry, I'm the new guy, so I'm taking over. I don't think Evan or Shelly has hit on yet. So
I want to hear from you, Jeff. Keep going.
Some records.
Go for it.
Like I collect records also.
Yeah.
I've
You
gotten
have a crazy record collection.
I've gotten a pretty decent little chunk of them signed through different venues and stuff going to see. If I bore the hell out of y'all, just bear with me. There's actually all kinds of variants. There's color patterns. There's different schemes. This one, I don't know what you're going to be able to see, but this one actually has a cracked ice pattern. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the camera or not. But no, you
It's
can't.
tough to see.
Yeah, that's okay. This one right here is you might have heard, some of y'all might have heard of them. It's King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. They do a lot of weird things with their records. This one's got a pop-up, and then it's also one of the most of it is evaporated, but it's also one of the liquid filled records.
Wow.
Wow.
I know, hopefully y'all can see that okay. Like I said, most of the liquid is evaporated. You can actually get it refilled.
That's really cool.
And resealed up. But I don't know. I've got like way too many I want to share. Like I said, I totally geeked out.
I've got two questions for you, Depp. I'm just
what's
gonna
up?
throw them out there and you chat a little bit because do you listen to them if they're collectible, or does that ruin the collectability of them? And what's your approach to getting them signed? Do you only do so if all members of the band can do it? Do you look for like if a bass player or like a producer? Like what's your so either of those if you want to touch on them, just not a realm at all that I'm familiar with.
Generally, I kind of approach everything I collect like cards. I don't really care for I don't want them to be beat up to all hell, but I want to be able to use them and enjoy them and appreciate them. Like I don't grade. It's just with cards. I kind of have the same approach to records. I want to listen to them. I want to share them. I want to annoy everyone that comes in contact with me with way more information than they want. I like using them. As far as signing them, there's like a lot of you know how the old rule for card collecting, like don't ever get like a rookie card signed because it'll ruin it. You know how there used to be that approach? Like there's a lot of hardcore record collectors that think if you get them signed, you ruin them. So that rule kind of applies to records as well. I don't agree with it. But I understand the thought process of it because I also don't like getting the rookie card signed, even though that's changed like drastically over the years.
What's the reason for that, for signing? Is that because you have to open them to get them signed?
I think honestly, because they want them in mint condition. And if you write on them, it's kind of like with in-person autographs, like there's not 100% way to verify it. So you've got ink on the thing that's supposed to be, in mint, and it just, in some people's opinion, it just kind of wrecks it.
Uh-oh.
All right, Depp's buffering right now.
Yeah, I think we lost him for a bit.
Yeah, definitely buffering.
Why don't we give him time to refresh? But Evan, do you want to jump in and share with us what you collect? That's not cards.
Sure. Yeah.
Fresh. Evan, do you want to jump in and share with us what you collect? I think we're hearing feedback from you. Evan,
Anyway, let's go. So I'm glad Tim is here because we've actually talked about this before. And I'm showing off the movies. So like Blu-rays and DVDs and stuff like that. This was my first big collection postcards when I was a teenager. When I was in high school, I was really into film, and I wanted to be a cinematographer, or like the guy that's like in control of the shots in movies and things like that, and like how they portray the story and things.
The vibes.
Yeah, I got really into movies and stuff like that in high school. I mean, I always was, but more so purchasing them and having them for my own collection. So, for example, like I thought I have a few different formats that I thought would be interesting to show. Like this is a Blu-ray, which you guys might know, School of Rock. One of my favorite movies right here. Just the regular old Blu-ray.
Hmm.
So that's what like is like 90% of my collection. But there's also like more interesting like boutique releases. This is just another movie that I wanted to show off. Sugar. I don't know if anyone's seen it. It's pretty low key, a baseball movie. Really, really good about a Dominican pitcher that comes over to the United States, gets put into like a farm league system in Iowa. So it's like a fish out of water type of story. Really interesting. But anyway, so yeah, there's DVDs and then Blu-rays came after DVD. That's like a higher resolution picture of the film. And then 4K came out, which is like the Ultra HD. So here's an example. I just grabbed Captain Marvel. It's a 4K, so basically it's just an upgraded version of the Blu-ray. And you need a 4K player to kind of get the full value out of it and 4K TV. So I don't have either of those. So they come with the Blu-ray as well. It's like the 4K Blu-ray and a digital copy. So I just get them for the Blu-ray, and eventually, whenever I get the thing to play it, I'll watch it on 4K. But some more interesting forms of releases that they have. Here is the Green Mile on. It's called a Digibook. So it opens up like a book, and there's like information on the movie inside of here. It's really interesting. A lot of movie collectors really like these. It just has the disc in the back. And yeah, it fits on the shelf pretty nicely. It's skinny. It's skinnier than a regular traditional Blu-ray case. Then probably the most collectible format that movie collectors like is called a steelbook. Here's an example of one. The Shining. It's like a metal case. And the back. This is The Shining, obviously. And inside it has like some more artwork and just the disc. But people really like these because it's like alternate artwork and really just like a more of a collectible piece. They like the hard steelbook. I grabbed another one here. It Follows. I'm not sure if anyone's ever seen this either. Really good, like thriller. But yeah, another type of steelbook here. Two more I wanted to show off real quick is the like, I guess you want to call it like multi-movie pack or trilogy. So I have like the Back to the Future trilogy here on Blu-ray.
Oh, that's cool.
And similar, I guess, to the Digibook, it has all the movies in here, and you can kind of like scroll through and look at. There's Back to the Future 3. There's the disc right here. So really cool. You know, I always like getting these multi packs because it takes up less room on the shelf. Last thing here I think is kind of interesting. This is actually an international release. This is from an Irish cartoon company called Cartoon Saloon. This movie here, Wolfwalkers, was on the Apple TV, and I really liked it. So I wanted to buy it on physical media, but they didn't sell it by itself. Additionally, this is region locked, which means it won't play on any players in the United States or North America, South America. It only plays on European or region-free Blu-ray players. So another big aspect of movie collecting is getting a region-free player, so you can watch anything from anywhere around the world, and instead of having it be region locked, which is kind of an interesting nuance to the collecting. But yeah, that's what I've been really getting into recently, along with my cards. I have like a good stack of like 30 movies that I need to put on the shelf. But yeah, I was talking to Tim about it when I posted some of my stories, so it's good to know that there's other physical media collectors out there as well. And I do collect vinyls as well, so I'm glad I didn't pick that one. Yeah, that's what I've been kind of passionate about recently, along with the cards.
You want a little story to make your heart hurt, then, Evan? So when I was into high school, into college, I worked at Best Buy, originally selling computers, but I was trash at, so they sent me to the media department. And every Tuesday during release day, which was like when physical media was released, it was always Tuesdays, we would like go through and just stash aside all the limited edition DVDs, box sets, director's cuts. And that continued up until I moved in with my now wife. We had both you forgot to mention there was HD DVDs and Blu-rays, which were competitive to each other. We had a player for each. I had all kinds of stuff, and those collecting days from my the knowledge from Best Buy carried over to me, and I threw them all into a tote and just donated them to a local Goodwill. Probably about way before I ever met you. Probably about 8 years ago when we started having kids. They just all went off. I had no more use for them. I didn't want them around. I would have had just piles of stuff that I would have just dropped off on your door stuff for you to filter through one day. I had all kinds of stuff. I mean, I had VHSs. I never had a laser disc, but I even had a couple laser disc players. But I had a couple laser discs that an older gentleman that I worked with, shared with me just to kind of show me some of the artwork and stuff that they were doing then. So I had all kinds of crap gone.
Yeah,
no mas.
It goes really deep.
Yeah, I love it, Evan. Movies. I love my movies as well. You said we were talking about it a little while ago. For me, it's like, we have streaming, sure, but I'm very, very stringent. What's the right word? Stringent on which movies I add to the shelf. There could be movies I like, but if it's not like a classic to me, I can't have it up there. So I think I have a list of the ones that I haven't gotten yet, and it kind of caps out at about 300. If it's a bad sequel, I don't include it. I don't keep it in there just to keep everything in chronological order. So I do have a question for you though.
Sure.
Before I get there, let me just make this one point. I think the biggest reasons why I have my movie collection, and maybe it's the same for you, Evan, is one day I'd love to have kids. And I think that big thing for me growing up is looking at my older siblings' VHS covers, and I would go through the shelf and say like, hey, this looks kind of cool. And then put it on, and that's how I know all these 70s and 80s movies and 90s movies. So I want my future kids, if I'm lucky enough one day, to look at my shelf and pick one out that they think is cool. I think that is a big dream for me. But I have a question for you. This 4K stuff, they're upgrading it. They want people to kind of get rid of the Blu-rays and get the 4K stuff. For me, I don't want to start getting 4Ks because if I get one 4K, I feel like I'm going to need to replace them all. So what do you think about the upcoming 4K? I know you don't have a player yet, but
first off, 4K is expensive. A lot more expensive than like a brand new Blu-ray release is like in the $20 to $25 range. 4Ks can be like 35 to 40 range in a brand new release. And to be honest, like I'm not like a huge cinephile to the point where like I'm judging the aspect ratio and like the picture quality that much. So like for me, like I love being able to pick up like 10 Blu-rays for like $25. I don't really mind that aspect of it, but if there's like a movie like maybe like for instance like Top Gun Maverick, like I want to get that on 4K just because I know the potential of that movie, and just seeing it on the big screen, like trying to replicate the experience at home with a 4K release, I think is probably like something I would be interested in, but I'm not prioritizing them, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I just see what you mean, especially a movie like something like that, or like an Oppenheimer or something, Interstellar. Yeah. You'd want to get something like that. It's just for me, looking at a shelf, if they're all blue and one is gray, I'm just going to be like, it's going to bother me more than most.
That's
so
true.
There's a separate player for 4K. I'm totally all new to me.
You need like a separate player that reads the 4K disc to its full potential, and you need a 4K TV that can play the 4K video to its full potential as well. So it's kind of crazy.
That's cool. I was gonna say I love your collection of physical movies because it is kind of like dying out because everybody's streaming. So you could stream in something on Netflix or HBO, whatever you got. Well, I paid $20 or whatever. I actually collected a lot of those DVD sets and stuff like that back in the day. I have a few left, but I want to say it's like the early days of Amazon when you could just pick up real cheap stuff. I was kind of like an early adopter to Amazon, and like they had true Black Friday sales. I feel like the Black Friday sales now are just like, let's mark it up for 3 months, and then when Black Friday hits, we'll just put it back at the regular price.
Right.
But like back when they actually had Black Friday stuff, I would give like all of my family like DVD collector's editions and stuff I got from like Black Friday. So I don't know if they kept any of it, but I still have some of that stuff. So it's cool to see that people are actually collecting those. I kind of felt like it was probably a thing, and I knew it was, a thing that people collected, but cool to see that you're doing it as well. So thanks for sharing.
Definitely. Yeah, you don't own any movies when you're streaming them, so and they can always be taken away. True. That's how I look at it. Anyway,
so
I don't want to take any more time away from Steve. We'll give you 3 minutes, Steve. Go for it.
No, I was laughing, but I'm also thinking of the stuff that I kept as far as physical media, and all the DVDs and Ryan will probably know a little bit more. I think he followed a little bit of skateboarding culture in the 90s and 2000s too. I kept all of like my skate DVDs, my snowboarding, the Warren Miller films that I have, and then the other thing that I kept was all of like the 90s concert videos, like when bands would put out like they weren't even documentary series. They'd follow like a concert on a specific night or maybe a concert series. I kept all that stuff because that you just can't stream as well. I'm sure it's all on YouTube, but there's just something I will still throw those into my Xbox and pretend I'm at the skate shop, and back in '98 or something. So I kept all that stuff. I got some Vans Warped Tour stuff, so I still have some of the stuff that's nostalgic for me that I really enjoy. Cool, speaking of movies, I guess the thing that I'll decide to share is going back to the card thing, and maybe that brings it home a little bit before Joey maybe shares something, and I'll be quick. I got way into collecting Marvel cards. When I started getting burnt out on, and I just went through it down like this whole rabbit hole. And what really pulled me into it was the fact that up until recently, Upper Deck owned the Marvel rights. So I think they did an amazing job with it. I can go into it. They did original artwork. I think they paid great respect to both the MCU and the comic brands of Marvel. They really highlighted the artistry of the cards. They highlighted the artists themselves. They did well by the characters and the storyline. So Upper Deck did both MCU and comic stuff. The pride and joy of my collection. My favorite MCU franchise is, and I apologize, I'm on a phone, my computer crapped out, but my favorite MCU franchise is Guardians of the Galaxy. So I have a Chris Pratt auto here. So they did, like I said, they did whole series just based on the MCU stuff. But what really, and that's how I got into it. I started with the MCU stuff, Guardians of the Galaxy boxes just for fun. I collected Marvel cards as a kid. I would just grab one. When we went to the comic shop, I wasn't a huge comic reader or collector. I'd just grab random copies, but I'd grab the cards when I was there. And so what I mean by original artwork is, so Marvel Masterpieces has been a brand since the 90s. 92, I believe, was the first iteration of it. And it's what Upper Deck used as their premium. It was like their flawless of Marvel. And so this is a Drax the Destroyer versus Thanos card. The theme is like a battle. So it's always a one character versus another. 100% original artwork. So for Masterpieces, they would commission a single artist to build the entire set. And it was all original artwork from that artist. And then to tie it into some stuff that people that are sports card collectors might understand, this is a out of 99 parallel. They call this the Battle Spectrum Gems. And it's like the PMGs of Marvel cards. They take the very detailed background and they overlay the foil on top of it. So stuff like that is really fun. Upper Deck.
That card is gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm on my phone, but even you can't, the detail. So the detail of these cards is really, they're stunning. The artwork is awesome. Upper Deck did a nice job of using some brands we're familiar with. So we got a couple of Guardians of the Galaxy autos here from, they would use this is Exquisite. They never had an Exquisite brand, but they would use the brand within, as a subset. So again, I can't show the detail of this, but gold foil on it, nice clean character photo. And then the final ones I'll show off, and I have so many of them. This will be one of my favorite sets as a kid with basketball cards, 94, 95 Ultra Power. And it was like, if you remember, it was more of a defensive style card as far as the position the players were in. Shaq was in it, I think Barkley. And it had an explosion in the background and a glittered texture to it. And they had a Flair Ultra Avengers set where they recreated that design using Marvel characters. So this is Wolverine. This is the base version. Design's great. Unfortunately, they didn't give that textured glitter component to it. But then they also had image variations. So this is an out of 50, same set number, same number within the set, but this is an image variation. So for those that are listening, one is Wolverine sort of probably attacked at a bar or something. He's not in his X-Men's uniform. Claws are out. He's ready to fight. The image variation looks very much like the 97 X-Men cartoon. He's in his classic yellow and blue outfit, full gear, sort of charging into battle with color match background. So I could go on and on. I just really think Upper Deck paid great respect to the Marvel brands. I do have some of the original 90s stuff from Flair and even some smaller brands, but it's really the Upper Deck stuff that I thought kind of tied into a lot of the collection and collecting habits that we have. So I just wanted to share those real quick.
Yeah, I agree. The artwork is just really nice. And when I had asked, because again, I like the idea of potentially collecting some Pokemon. When I asked someone who does collect Pokemon, their thing was, if you don't care about value moving forward, just collect the things you think look nice artistically. Yeah, I guess that's kind of a theme that runs across all the things that we talked about.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah, I love those Marvel cards. I was big into comic cards in the 90s, as were lots of other people. I never really picked it back up though, so I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because I've already got too many avenues I go down nowadays. But yeah, those are really cool looking.
So you talked about collecting stuff that you just think is cool. You don't care about the value. So I'm going to show this again. There's no way I can show the detail of this card, but this is a mid-90s set. It was an insert set called Laser Blast. And it is, you can see my face through it. So that's Spider-Man. It was I think a 4-card insert set. It's a combination of die cut, laser cuts, and just the amount of material that they have taken out of these cards. I mean, just really high technology for back in the day. And I want to say I paid probably on average $10 a card for these. So this one's really dark. You can't see it as well, but there's Wolverine. And again, it's got a die cut to it and then a laser cut. Hulk was in it. There's a Punisher card from it where they laser cut bullet holes through a wall to show like a battle scene. So as you go down these roads, Joey, there is just so much stuff to learn and dive into. These were, I got these all on ComC. I mean, so maybe they're relatively rare, but they're not so rare that I couldn't just over a 6-month period wait for a couple to pop up on ComC. And they're mid-90s cards. So there's a lot of stuff that, when you collect stuff other than cards, I think the knowledge carries over. Kind of collect what you like, know how to assess price, look up comps, talk to people that might collect the stuff, find content on YouTube. There's a lot of overlap in how to do it, and you can carry that knowledge through. But man, it's a great way to kind of scratch that collecting gene itch, but look at something different. And I'm sure most people aren't out there chasing those things that I just showed off, but for me personally, that was a must-have. There's just so much detail and artistry in those cards that I focused on those for just a couple of months.
Yeah, those cards look so fragile. I feel like I'd be scared to pick them up if I had them. But yeah, those are really cool.
Reminds me of you guys ever pick up any of those Prime twine? They're like hoops from back in the 90s.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought when I got that Spider-Man. Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Very fragile. Yeah, you got to be careful with them.
Well, what is it, 2001 Beam Team, where they have like the arching laser cuts through them. That, I mean, it almost feels like you could just flick your finger right through as if it was like a curtain or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and Steve, that's probably what's prevented me from fully diving down a rabbit hole of collecting something. I do collect. I don't know if I can say, now Adam's having me second guess myself. I don't know if I can say that I collect vinyls and records, but I have a bunch, several signed, a few test pressings, a few things like that. It's just a world I know nothing about. So it's one of those things where even if I want a vinyl, because I love music, and one of the things that I think appreciated when you guys were talking about the movies and collecting the Blu-rays and the 4Ks is that I think it's really cool to be able to have the physical media of some artistic expression that you really love, like a movie you love, or for me, an album I love. But man, every album now, especially if it's an artist that's popular, is like every album is released with 10 different variants. Then some have specific songs that others don't have, and then some are signed, and then some have this version. So it's just that rabbit hole where I'm like, okay, that's too overwhelming. So I don't know that I could ever learn to the extent where I could say that I'm educated in the subject.
But I think to motivate you a little bit, Joey, that's the fun of it though, right? And there's always an entrance point. Like I think we're like a lot of and we've talked music a little bit offline. Like we're at the point where a lot of my favorite bands from the 90s and early 2000s are starting to re-release albums on vinyl as collectibles. They're having artwork on the album itself. I've been tempted to go down that route, but similar to what Depp was saying, I would only want to do that if I could use the media. And I am just not in a place where I want to add another piece of equipment to my house, to whether it be like the den that me and the family, like right now I have Bluetooth speakers, we can listen to music. So it's more about, it would be cool to get that Goldfinger album on vinyl if they ever press it, and it's limited presses, and it would be fun, and there's a collectible aspect to it, but I'd want to listen to it and I don't want to add more stuff. And that's why I was like, when Evan was talking about like all the movies, like that, like just more stuff is like what holds me back. But I do think if you want to get into something, whether it be sneakers, which are super expensive and they're really chased after, and there's aggressive drops, or vinyl, or whatever it might be. There's always an entry point, and there's always a way to hop in at very low risk. And like the Marvel stuff that I do that I find fun and it spills over, I've grabbed a couple of comics, but I don't have the same desire to chase all of the comics. And when I want to read one, I just buy, I don't know what they're called, but the collection of, like, I bought a Star-Lord book recently that has like all of his key comics, so I can follow his storyline, just read it like a novel, right? So there's you just end up collecting different ways and learning more about it. And even if you don't dive all in and go like as aggressively as you would with basketball cards, it's still a means of collecting and kind of learning something else, and hopefully something you can use.
That was very well said, Steve.
All right, I'm going on top.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, unless anyone has something to add, I feel like that's a great way to go out to motivate us all to pursue those collecting endeavors, whether they be basketball cards or otherwise. Anyone have anything they want to add before we sign off?
I did have one thing I think that just segues over from the Marvel and the movies and all that kind of stuff. Just take a minute. I know we're running a little low on time, but my wife is a huge Disney person, and so Disney stuff is something that she's always been into. And we went to Disney for our honeymoon in 23. And afterwards, I bought a couple things. I pulled out like the Disney rookie, Walt Disney.
Oh, cool.
That's a crazy
that's
card.
iconic, Adam. That's really cool.
And then
Nice.
at the National a couple years ago, I was like drawing blanks and I couldn't find anything I really wanted. And I bought a Disney signed check.
Oh, wow.
But the main thing
that's his full legal signature on there too, right? Not the
it is, yeah.
And for pop culture purposes.
It's probably the boldest one I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's super dark on there.
Yeah,
But,
that's cool.
Beautiful.
The main segue I was going to
$4,000.
throw over on there was in 23, the same year I got married. They did a 100th anniversary set. My wife a few months ago started asking me about Disney cards, knowing how much obviously I like cards. So the last few months I've been buying some of those. So it's the first inaugural set of Disney.
Oh,
they're very tempting.
Wow.
So they're
Topps Chrome brand, right?
Topps Chrome. Yeah, they have like 90s, like I don't even know who made them. I never really looked that into them. But that 23 set being the first year and much less printed than every other year since has been something that I really liked. And then in this most recent year, they did case hits that I'm sure will be worthless in a few years. But I really like these Reflections cards.
Oh, wow.
That's neat.
Oh, yeah, that looks really cool.
And they show like basically a combination of characters, usually like the enemy and the main character in some form of reflection. So I really like those. But that's just been kind of a segue that my wife's interests and mine have been kind of overlapping recently. I've been buying those for her, but also using, like Steve said, some of our own collecting knowledge that transposes over to something that we're completely clueless about. I don't know anything about this stuff, but I know about Topps Chrome basketball or football or baseball cards, so it's not completely foreign.
And does she participate in that process at all, or just enjoy like the cards once you guys have them?
All the above, but she's like all the time she'll be like, "How do you remember that golds are numbered to 50?" I'm like, they just are. I don't know what to tell you. It's like it's not hard to remember. Like the stuff that like you're acting like is so fancy or knowledgeable. It's like this is barely scratching the surface. I'm clueless about this. I'm an idiot, but I'm stumbling my way across and buying a few things, color matches, unique stuff that she likes. But yeah.
Yeah, Steve, you said it really well a second ago. Maybe if we can close it with this, George Lucas said something I think earlier this year at some kind of expo where he goes, art is not what the value is or who signed it or what other people think about it. It's the connection that the collector has to the item. And, I think you can collect in whatever route that you want to go. And it doesn't need to be ultra valuable, but if it means something to you, then, that's a collection.
And I guess on that note, that reminded me of a podcast that Dave did, Iowa Dave, on the Shallow End. He had an episode maybe a month ago about I think it was a German book collector who wrote about the process of collecting, or about the act of collecting. And that kind of what you just said really brought up, I think, in my head a lot of what he mentioned. So if you haven't listened to that, I would definitely recommend it. It's an amazing listen. And of course, anybody who doesn't listen to the Shallow End really should. It's such a great podcast. And Iowa Dave and Jason, they also do Overthinking Baseball Cards. If you're into baseball cards, that's like nerdy baseball card stuff, an hour and a half, like looking at a baseball card design. So it's good stuff, but cool. Well, I think that is probably a good place for us to say our farewells for this week. It was a lot of fun hearing about what you guys collect. And of course, Darren too, who's now off our screen, but hanging out in the chat. If anyone else has something that they collect that they want to share, I think it's probably a good opportunity to say, like put it up on Instagram, tag the Hoops Hobby Hangout account. I'll probably share some of the stuff that I have that I collect and maybe post about it or whatever. So if you guys here want to do that, or if anyone else that's listening or hanging out wants to do that, and then we'll keep the conversation going. So otherwise, looking forward to probably getting back into basketball cards next week. And I hope you guys all have a good week. We'll see you guys next Thursday.
Be well, everyone.
See you guys.